My good friends in Circadian put out an insanely awesome lead-off single from their upcoming album Godspeed that you're gonna hear right now.
I'm changing my story. I'm changing directions now. I'm taking control this time. You wait and see. Wish me Godspeed.
Before I begin, I have to do something. That was for everyone on Twitter who sent death threats to critics for daring to say they didn't like an MCU property. So let's address the elephant in the room. Speaking of sticking out like a sore thumb, yep, they only cast Scarlett Johansson at the time because she was hot. So it turns out I have red on my ledger because Wonder Woman 1984 was just okay. The reason I said that was because Johansson was only seen as eye candy during Phase 1, as then Marvel CEO Ike Perlmutter had no interest in doing a female-led superhero movie. Even Scarlett Johansson herself acknowledged how awful her character was treated in Iron Man 2.
And Joss Whedon, an incredible screenwriter, joke writer, and storyteller.
What?
Joss Whedon, incredible screenwriter, joke writer, and storyteller.
Come on, I'm trying to defend you here. Given the fact that Joss Whedon couldn't be left alone with a minor, among other things, there's something off about how Black Widow's first scene in the Avengers, she is tied up in an evening gown and barefoot. Liv Tyler's Betsy Ross was Thanos snapped out of the MCU without Infinity Stones so that we could get a forced relationship with Black Widow and Bruce Banner, all while revealing that she feels like a monster because she can't have kids. It wasn't until Captain America the Winter Soldier that she became a three-dimensional character. There were hints of a three-dimensional character, but Ike Perlmutter said tits and ass. Then Warner Brothers released Wonder Woman, and Marvel was scrambling for a female-led superhero movie. I mean, there's a great character you've been using since 2010 that deserves it. Nope! The internet decided Brie Larson should be Captain Marvel, and Disney wanted that sweet, sweet Wonder Woman money.
Whatever, you'll pay to go see it. You.
But, oh shit! Warner Brothers just dropped Birds of Prey, a female-led superhero movie with a buzzy female indie director at the helm and a female writer. But oh, Disney killed Black Widow in Endgame the year before because Scarlett Johansson wanted Robert Downey Jr. money and Jeremy Renner was more affordable. It's time to find a buzzy indie director that isn't Lucretia Martel and hope to God Scarlett Johansson wants to do a solo movie. Contrary to that statement I made, I have wanted a Black Widow movie since Phase 2. I'm not someone who hates Marvel just to hate Marvel. I really dig the hell out of Loki. Black Widow is a film that takes place in between Civil War and Avengers Infinity War, as Natasha must travel to Russia to help take down the Red Room, which was set up in Avengers Age of Ultron. So let's get to some good things. The first act of this film is really good. The film starts off in Ohio in 1995 as they are a sleeper cell family in which they have to escape after Alexei steals key data, which then cuts to this fantastic opening sequence lifted straight out of 8mm that is set to a slowed down minor key cover of Smells Like Teen Spirit that actually works. And I hate slowed down minor key cover songs. The fact that I just mentioned 8mm when talking about a Marvel movie means that Marvel Studios is actually trying. Shit, this is more of a Snyderverse movie than Wonder Woman 1984 is. I also really love the deconstruction of Black Widow. Yelena has a humorous exchange with Black Widow about her use of superhero landings. We get to know more about her traumatic upbringing and what makes her Black Widow. Scarlett Johansson is fantastic in this role. She gets some insanely badass action sequences in this film, and she delivers. However, it is Florence Pugh as Yelena who steals this film. The chemistry Johansson and Pugh have together is nothing short of astounding. It's kind of sad that we won't see these two interact again. But I'm gonna be honest, I have the same problem with this film that I did with Cruella. If this film came out in 2016, when the film is actually set, I would have called this a top tier MCU entry. For me, this is an instance of too little too late. It's 2021, and Black Widow is perfectly okay. This film takes a nosedive the moment the second act hits. Let's start off with a major hot take. I fucking hate how they treat Red Guardian in this film.
Move this man!
In the comics, Red Guardian is essentially Russian Captain America who took on the Avengers, and they made him a drooling dumbass. Granted, this is more dignified than David Harbour's performance in Hellboy 2019, but this is why I get angry at the whole Disney totally understands Marvel discourse on the internet. All Red Guardian knows how to do in this film is throw punches and tell shitty sitcom jokes. Speaking of messing up a character horribly, there is Taskmaster, who already had a handicap going in, as Taskmaster looked like a 5th tier Power Rangers villain. When it got to the reveal with this particular character, I eye-rolled so hard as Disney took one of Marvel's best villains and made it generic. I was really hoping Sony could have said fuck you to Disney for using Taskmaster if they were going to do this character dirty. So let's talk about Lucrecia Martel, who was originally approached to direct Black Widow. Marvel approaching Lucrecia Martel to direct an MCU film is like asking Celine Sciamma to direct a Fast and the Furious film. Martel refused to do the film because she was told to, quote, "Don't worry about the action scenes," unquote. The third act has huge "don't worry about the action scenes" energy, as most of it looks like a video game cutscene. I bought a Pontiac Fiero going into space more than I did anything in its last act. The nighttime battle between Wonder Woman and Cheetah looked better than the third act. This film has some of the most jarring tonal shifts I have ever seen in a film. I'm going to spoil the post-credit scene. So if you don't want to hear the post-credit scene, go to this timestamp. The most egregious tonal shift is in the post-credit scene, where all the dramatic weight of Yelena visiting Natasha's grave is destroyed for what is essentially a teaser trailer for Hawkeye. It might as well have just ended like this. Black Widow is okay when this should have been great. This film feels less like an essential entry into the MCU and more of what is called content. This film reeks of contractual obligation. While there are some solid performances across the board in this film, and hell, I could get behind the inevitable Yelena series, I just asked, what's the point of this film other than telling Warner Brothers, see, we can do female superhero movies too? Guess what? It turns out Black Widow is going to get the same star rating as Wonder Woman 1984. A 2.5 out of 5. I'm done doing trailer comparison videos. In fact, going forward, this is going to be more of a podcast now with minimal editing. Be sure to like, comment, share, spread the word of New Realms Media. Follow me on all my socials at New Realms Media. And until then, I'll see you next time.